Welcome to another episode of everybody's favorite movie related podcast, Real to Real Talk. I am your host, Paul Britton. We're going to be doing reviews tonight. We've got The Beekeeper, we've got Night Swim, and we've got Society of the Snow. Two Dumpuary movies and a international Oscar contender. So an interesting lineup, if I don't say so myself. We're going to start with The Beekeeper, not officially being released until this coming weekend. Yours truly went and did a little one of those sneak peeks, they do on Saturday nights when there's really nothing else out that they can put in the bigger screens. And so they're just like, yeah, you know what? Let's give everybody a chance to hop on this one a week early. And I took advantage. And let me tell you, so it's Jason Statham as a guy who is known as a beekeeper. Who and I'm going to do super non-spoilery on this. There no spoilers on this. Everything I'm going to tell you is pretty much publicly available in the trailer. So rest assured, you're not going to get any dirt on in this review. But he's from a clandestine intelligence agency, I guess we could call it. Who work without borders, are really there to make sure society works, not so much a country, not so much, they're just like, hey, look, we only step in when there is a problem with the overall community at large, and by community I mean the global community. And so this is Jason Statham. He is part of, or was part of that organization. And something happens to his friend Felicia Rashad, Mrs. Huxtable, and she is the victim of identity fraud. She loses all her money, and he decides that it's time to step in. Taking advantage of older folk and stealing their money, we can't have that. And so, amen. I'm in. Let's do it. Let's absolutely go after super rich people stealing money, hiding behind corporate behemoths and shady organizations. In addition to Jason Statham, we are treated to the likes of Jeremy Irons, who is showing up in one of his "Why the hell is Jeremy Irons in this movies?" And I love that about him. I don't, some people might say, oh, this movie's beneath him, or, oh, he's just doing it for the paycheck. I'm saying because he's awesome and he's Jeremy Irons. It also features Peter Malark from the Hunger Games movies, sometimes known as Josh Hutcherson. He gets to be a bad guy, which is fun. Peter, bad guy. Oh no. And also Emily Raver Lampman, who if you're a fan of the Umbrella Academy series on Netflix, she plays Allison, and I really do like that show, and she's fantastic in this. She plays the daughter of Mrs. Huxtable. So man, okay, we're gonna look at this as a 3-act movie. Act 1, setting up Jason Statham's character, setting up, the groundworks of who are the ones directly responsible for this. Amen. It's so good. It's just everything you want from a ridiculous action, ridiculous revenge film. Just A+++, taking on 10 guards at once, total John Wick style, but it's low rent John Wick. It's really what it is. And I don't need to be paying high rent dollar value for all of my action movies. I am more than happy to pay low rent, and this absolutely delivers. Just 100% delivers in Act 1. Act 2, it's time to start unraveling the greater organization It's time to start revealing more and more layers of not only revealing, but taking out more and more layers of the organization that would sponsor such things as stealing money from older people, and more revenge and more ridiculous awesomeness. And I am there for it. And then we get to act 3, where there is the big reveal of who is the ultimate mastermind, or the ultimate puppet master, or basically, look, it's called the Beekeeper. Who's the ultimate queen bee? And I look, I understood they needed to go somewhere. And I just wish the folks that wrote and directed this uh would have just been like, we don't need to reach too far. Like, just stayed on the tree that you were on. We're gonna say that. Like, sometimes you feel like you need to go, for a stretch, because there's something with the movie that, you just feel like you need to go for it. This was not that movie. This was a movie that, just give me a big bad evil corporation and I'm in. You didn't need to go for it here. And it's a shame, because they went for it and it just doesn't work at all. Like, it goes from ridiculous awesome to ridiculous. Just none of this makes any sense, and none of this would ever happen in a bazillion years, because I have seen way too many movies, and this is just not how this would work. And there are people showing up in this movie that would not be in this scene, because there's just no way. Like, the stop it, stop it, and it doesn't stop it, and it keeps going, and then it gets damn it. I fucking wanted to give this movie so many tacos. I had a taco truck, and I was ready to unload my entire fucking taco truck, my entire inventory of tacos onto this movie. But then it got to the third act, and they flew too high to the sun, and damn it, the third act is ridiculous, not in a good way, but I still love the movie. I can't stay mad at you, the Beekeeper. I can't stay mad at you. I still loved you. You still entertained me for 2 hours. Even if for the last half hour, like, I was like, oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Like, that was me in the last half hour. And not because, like, the action was over the top. It's just like, and I understand you're not going to this movie for a story, but, like, it's got to make a little bit, like, there's just no. Okay, no. But yes to the Beekeeper. Definitely go see it. The third act should not concern you too much. Just understand that, what, once the big reveal happens, just be like, okay, well, all right, I know where this is just going to be silly, instead of awesome ridiculous. But the awesome ridiculous is awesome and ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead here at the Real to Real Talk. We give tacos, not stars, and instead of half a star, if I like it a little more, we give guac, because nobody eats a half a fucking taco. I'm doing 3 tacos plus guac. It was hovering between 4 and 4 plus guac for the entire movie. I fucking loved the first 2 acts so much. Everything that happened in the first 2 acts is perfection. And the third act, I'm taking a taco away for flying too close to the sun on this one. So, but 100% go see it opening week. See it in a packed theater. My theater was a packed theater. It was a great crowd. People were into it. People were very, very in favor of getting revenge for hurting Felicia Rashad. So, and you should be too. Next movie I'm going to be taking a look at is Blumhouse's latest Dumpuary movie, Night Swim. If you don't know what Dumpuary is, it's in January. Movie studios take movies that they really don't know where else to put on their schedule, because it's not a summer blockbuster. It's not something that you would ever release, around the time of prestige stuff. You've been hanging on to it for like a year and a half, and you just don't know what to do with it, so you dump it in January. So it's called Dumpuary. Anyway, that explains everything you need to know about Night Swim from Blumhouse. Uh, if you're not aware, I'm not a super huge horror movie guy. Okay. But I take one for the team because I know people like horror movies. Um, and actually do like horror movies. It's just, it's got to be. This is actually the kind of horror movie I do like. It's very much a supernatural kind of like mysterious entity is is taking control over a thing. In this case, this is basically The Shining in a swimming pool. And that's it. That's what you need to know. What you don't need to do is look at the IMDb description of it, because the IMDb description of it is a one sentence summary, which is a woman swimming in her pool at night is terrorized by an evil spirit. That's not what this movie's about at all. So don't, I mean, I guess like that explains like 2 minutes of the movie, but doesn't even give like a decent overarching view of the movie. Uh, there's a family, they buy a house. And they're looking to settle down after the husband, who is a baseball player, has come down with MS and has been diagnosed with MS and can't play baseball anymore, obviously. And instead of renting, which is what they were originally looking to do, they decide to buy this house that is on the market and is like super discounted cheap. They come to find out, that some weird things happen in the swimming pool when people are going in. There's clearly an entity in and around the swimming pool. And by the way, the swimming pool, they find out, isn't just any swimming pool. It's like a swimming pool that is fed, the water is fed from a natural spring. I've never heard of that before. I don't know if that's a real thing, but sure, let's do that. Let's have a swimming pool fed by a natural spring and not pretend like that's gonna allow the evil water spirits to inhabit a family. And we find out, obviously, months after the house has been purchased, that oh, by the way, people have gone missing from your house before, you know, as people do. And the pool scenes are good. It's just that if you're going to be the shining of something, I'm just going to be sitting here like this. The Shining is just so much better. Like, it's like, I don't know. I don't. I'm probably being too mean, but it's it's just I don't know. It just this needed to be like, it was an hour and 45 minutes. It needed to be an hour 30. It just was. It's just silly. That's it. That's my. It's just silly. Like I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. Like when I did May December, May December was obviously supposed to be funny, and I don't know if this movie was supposed to be funny, but I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but it just was like just a little too. It was just a shade too funny. And it wasn't really supposed to be funny. So I had a really hard time taking this thing seriously. Look, I'm gonna just go ahead and do the taco. This one gets 2 tacos for me. I'm sorry. I'm. I really want. I did want to like this movie. But I kind of also went in kind of knowing that it's not Megan. Like Megan was super fun last year. Was a super fun horror movie last year. It doesn't have the fun, unique stuff going on in Megan. There's just it just has The Shining in a pool, and ultimately that it gets two tacos. So that is Blumhouse's Night Swim. Lastly, we're going to do Society of the Snow, which is currently streaming on Netflix. This is Spain's submission to the Oscars for Best International Feature. Oscar noms aren't out yet, but it was it was in the running for a Golden Globe over the weekend. It didn't win, but it was in the running. Anatomy of a Fall one. And so this definitely has buzz about it, and this is a story that you're familiar with. Okay, so this is another retelling of the plane accident in South America, where a Uruguayan rugby team had chartered a plane to go over the Andes to take them to Santiago, Chile for a rugby match. And it doesn't make it over the Andes and crashes, and they have to eat the dead in order to survive. Not a spoiler. Look, the movie's already been made alive. It was already done. So we understand what this movie is. Okay. You're not going to be shocked or surprised by the story. It's more the storytelling and how, the honestly, it's when you're talking about eating people, like you really have to be emotionally invested, and how do they convey the hardships that people are going through. And I mean, look, first of all, if you've ever seen an episode involving disasters on this show, I love plane crashes on film. I love it's always riveting. I'm always 100% in. They're just fantastic. They're fascinating to me. Uh, and absolutely, this one is just te- terrible in the ways that you would expect it to be. Not terrible in a oh this was bad, but terrible in a like oh that I just they do some things with their plane crash that I don't recall seeing before. Just pretty like graphic stuff that's like oh, and it's like yeah that's oh that's it's rough. It is rough going. The plane crash is absolutely rough going, and man, I mean, these people are up in a mountain, and eh, Alive is semi notorious for having zero Uruguayan or even South American actors in it. Ethan Hawke. It's just an American version of Uruguayans, and whereas this has a much more real feel to it as far as the experience and the story, and just because they're using Uruguayan actors, um and it's so visceral. It's so I mean, Ethan Hawke can't be but pretty, like he's always going to be pretty, and it's just he's pretty going through tough things. Whereas this, you just feel uh, the isolation, and you feel the strain and the difficulty of this mountain. And man, I mean, it's really gripping. It really is. They do such a good job with it. It's one of these movies where you immediately go on Wikipedia just to kind of read a little bit more about the true story, and you get the feeling that this movie really, really sticks with the realism, like the actual chain of events that happened after the crash, and how they get out, how they get rescued, all of that. And then the you know everything you've gone through is like just so monumentally taxing. It's just like it's such a slog to watch all the way through, and then they're rescued and you're excited, but then they show them being cared for in the hospital and stuff, and it's like holy shit. Like it is like the transformation that these actors go through is just unbelievable. And like you think you've gone through it all, and then you see them at the hospital, and I mean, this movie, I can't possibly recommend it enough, just because of like the last 10 minutes is just so visceral. Is really the best word to describe it. And also because this is almost definitely going to get nominated for international film at the Oscars, and I always recommend people watching movies that are nominated for Oscars. I think it's fun. It's it's fun to say, hey, I've actually seen that one. Cool. I don't know that it'll win just because there's Anatomy of the Fall and there's going to be Zone of Interest. The international feature this year is packed. But it'll get a nomination. It'll get a nomination, and I think that's cool. Also, just horrible. Uh, this movie, I'm not sure where I'm landing on this. Okay, right now today I'm doing 4 tacos. They're really good tacos though. These are like A++ tacos. Amazing. The real white cream of cheese that, Mexican cheese that is so good. And um the freshest ingredients and the shell, like the not it's not a shell, it's the soft taco. So it's like, if you've ever been to a taco truck in Southern California or the Central Valley, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is like the real deal. These are great tacos. I'm tempted to throw on guac. I'm not gonna. That's not where I am right now with this. I honestly, this is a movie that you have to wrestle with for a little while because of how it makes you feel. Um, I I I do think that the only reason why I'm not doing the guac is because I do think that there are stretches where it's like they're 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 just not doing enough with the characters. Ultimately, is what's going on, and as such, if you're you know moving along. That sounds horrible. I know, but I don't know what to say other than it is a little too long. Like, but also, how do you give the impression of how long they're spending there? I don't know. I don't know. So I got to think about it, but it's good. So those are the movies for today. Next week. Next week is basically Oscar nom extravaganza, because coming to South Florida next week, we're finally getting American Fiction. We are finally getting uh, All of Us Strangers, and we've had it for a couple weeks, but I'm finally going to get a chance to go see Fallen Leaves. So, and for the first two, everybody's favorite Kristen Smith is going to be joining us next week. So I am super excited about next week. I hope you will join me next week. It's going to be on Wednesday next week. Until then, I'm Paul Britton. This is Real to Real Talk. I hope that you get to go out and go see some movies this weekend. I will see you next week.